Seasons hellos! We're back ready to discuss who might be our next Ozeki and who might be our next Yokozuna. Seasons all throw.
Throw the salt, get in the ring. Welcome to the Dohyo.
Hello and welcome back to the Dohyo here on Mr. JWags channel. Yes, we are back trying to figure out who might be our next Ozeki and who might be our next Yokozuna. Now yes, we are back to combining these two episodes. They used to be just an Ozeki episode because he didn't really have any Ozeki. I thought we were going to make Yokozuna. Then we had a separate next Ozeki, next Yokozuna episode, but I think this time we're just going to put them both together in the same episode because I don't think we're going to have that long of a who will be our next Yokozuna episode. Now, for the newer folk, when we're talking about who will be our next Ozeki and who will be our next Yokozuna, we are not talking about necessarily who will get there first. What these rankings are rankings of who I think has the highest probability to achieve these ranks over the next 9 basho. So here it is, the end of 2025. We are talking about who is most likely to achieve these ranks by post-May 2027. And spoiler alert, for the first time in a while, Wakataka Kage is not leading our who will be our next Ozeki rankings. But before we go any further, I must thank our patrons. We have had a heck of a year over there at the Patreon. Check it out if you haven't. After every single basho, there is a dedicated patrons-only Hagakioi where I answer your questions. The newest one will be coming out in about a week. So thank you all for remembering us this holiday season, and remember, the more support we get, the more episodes of the Dohyo there will be. So, longtime viewers know that I was saying that 2025 was going to be a very hard year for anyone to make Ozeki, and I thought that we were probably only going to get one promotion. And I was right about that, but I thought it was going to be Wakataka Kage. And my primary reason was I thought that we had a very strong, young big three that was going to be taking up most of the oxygen in sumo. And of course, those 3 wrestlers were Ono Sato, Hosho Ryu, and Kotozakura. Yes, this time last year, remember, Kotozakura was coming off his very first, and at this point, only Yusho victory. But if we flipped Kotozakura with Aonishiki this year, I think we have a very similar case to make for 2026 being a very hard year to make Ozeki. Because of the harsh binary nature of sumo, we're sort of forced into a limit of the amount of people who can mathematically exist at these top ranks. I mean, mathematically, you really can't have more than 6 or 7 Ozeki plus Yokozuna before the math just doesn't work out. These are the top ranks, and they require you to win a certain amount of matches to stay at these ranks. And when you get past 7 total of them, well, someone has to lose these matches. So right now, going into 2026, it looks like we have a rock-solid top 3, all of whom are young enough to still be improving. And it also looks like right below that, we have a rock-solid group of veterans up in the Sanyaku and Joy who don't seem to be going anywhere anytime soon. So that just tells me someone trying to break through that Ozeki barrier, getting double-digit wins up in the Sanyaku and Joy regularly, is going to be a very heavy lift this year. And while the January 2026 Banzai isn't a murderer's row Banzai like we have explored on this channel historically before, I would say that this is a stronger Banzai than we have seen in a while. And I do think it is unlikely we are going to get more than one new Ozeki in 2026. Alright, so since the last time we did this in the summer, who is off the list? Well, first off the list is number 3, Aonishiki, for the best possible reason. He got promoted, even sooner than I expected. He had an amazing 2025 that will be remembered for years to come. And from this past summer, number 5, Daieisho. Now yes, I did have Daieisho on the rankings, but he was only at 5, and I wasn't really expecting an Ozeki run, but he was seeming to hold serve up there at Sekiwake, and from there, it only takes 1 or 2 really good tournaments to get up to Ozeki. But since then, he's had that calf injury, he's tumbled down the Bansuke to Magashira 10, although he got a 10 and 5 in the last tournament, now he's back up into the Joy-ish region. I'm gonna need to see a bit more from Daieisho before I start even considering him ready for any sort of future Ozeki run. I don't necessarily see this 32-year-old pusher thruster getting better and then improving on what he was before. And the last wrestler who you will not find on the list this time, number 6, Takeru Fuji. Yeah, just too many injuries at this point. He's barely holding on in judo at this point. Takeru Fuji will not be an Ozeki at any point in the next 9 tournaments. And we have a few honorable mentions, wrestlers who I didn't believe in quite enough to put on the list, but we should definitely be keeping our eyes on them over the next 9 basho. First honorable mention, Asanoyama. Yes, former Ozeki and champion Asanoyama has now worked his way back up from Sandanme through Judio up into Makuuchi for a second time, making him the only wrestler to do so. He's been doing very well. He's gotten 2 consecutive 12 and 3s in Judio. Who's to say what his true ceiling is anymore? I mean, the question really is how much gas is left in the tank, and how much better are the people already at the top of the Banzake than the current veteran version of Asanoyama? I expect him to hang around in Maegashira for a bit, but Ozeki in 9 basho? No, Asanoyama, I'm not expecting that from you. Next honorable mention, the former Haku Woho and current Haku no Fuji. He's an incredibly talented young wrestler. He's still only 22. He was just up at Maegashira 1. Injuries. The problem is going to be injuries. How healthy is he ever going to logically get at this point? And how many injuries can one young man hold before he gives up the sumo dream? If I can see Haku no Fuji make it through just like 2 tournaments without adding any new raps, then maybe we can talk about putting it up on the list proper. But for the moment, I'm just hoping he can just stay healthy enough to stay in Makuuchi for the next year or so. And the final honorable mention, Fuji Ryoga, the former Goshima. Now, we talked about Fuji Ryoga a little bit in the Tears episode, so check that out. He's had a fascinating story. He was an amateur Yokozuna, got Makusha to Tsukedashi, started at Makusha to 60, and has now managed to work his way all the way up to the top of Judo in less than a year. He won the Judo Yusho in his debut last tournament with a 13-2. I'm not necessarily expecting him to double up that 13-2, but that's an excellent record for a guy who's only 22. We have no idea what this guy's ceiling is, so I would be very, very shocked if it only took him 9 basho to get up to Ozeki, but I know that right now his true talent level is not lying in Judo, so I'm very excited to see what he will do in 2026. First up on the list, and keep in mind, these aren't people who I think are going to be likely to make Ozeki, but these are people who I think still have a possibility to make Ozeki in the next 9 basho. First up, at number 4, Wakataka Kage. Yes, the man who was number 1 for the last year on these rankings is now number 4. 2024 seemed to be all about Wakataka Kage's comeback from injury, and 2025 seems to be about proving that his peak seems to be around Sekiwake. I mean, he's an excellent wrestler, but he is now a 31-year-old wrestler, and he's slightly smaller than average. He's coming off 2 straight losing records, and everyone who is above him at Ozeki and Yokozuna is younger than him. So for right now, I still think there's a slim possibility he might be able to put together some excellent sumo, but for right now, he's number 4 on the list. Number 3 on the list, Oho. Now, Oho, once again, had sort of an up and down year, but if you keep looking through Oho's career to this point, yeah, it's up and down, but the trend seems to be working its way slowly upward. It's that gradual improvement that leads me to believe that Oho will make an Ozeki run at some point in his career. Whether or not it's going to be in the next 9 basho? Next up, Kirishima. Yes, he is still at number 2. The former 2-time champion and former Ozeki has managed to hang around the top of the Sanyaku, and in the last tournament got another 11-4, which he's been getting about half the time this year. I mean, when he's healthy, he's clearly wrestling at an Ozeki standard. The question is, can he stay healthy enough? He's 29, he's just hitting that point where I'm starting to worry a little bit about the aging, but I think in the next year, since he's already up there and he's already gotten a very good winning record up in the Joy, he's only 2 good tournaments away from Ozeki, so that's why he is going to hang out at number 2. And just judging on his recent career, he's probably going to hang out there for a bit longer. And the most likely wrestler to make Ozeki in the next 9 tournaments, Yoshi no Fuji, the most recent Kusano. He's only 24, he's never gotten a losing record in sumo, and he just got a 9-6 and his first kinboshi up in the Joy. And the meteoric rise of both Aonishiki and Onosato has taken some of the heat off of what would be usually a very exciting young prospect breaking his way through the ranks. Now, while he's only at 17 wins over the past 2 tournaments and 8 and 9 wins, I'm not sure we are at his ceiling yet. I'm sure we're going to get at some point a losing record before we start talking Ozeki, and that's probably going to come in the first half of 2026, but he's been proving me wrong this far. He already has a lot of sumo skill, but just a slight bump there could put him up with our top 3 and make it a big 4. Okay, who will be our next Yokozuna? The real hard question for me is, in the next 9 basho, Yokozuna? So number 3 on this list, Kotozakura. I do not think Kotozakura is going to make Yokozuna. This last year has disabused me of a lot of the Kotozaka-mentum that I had going into this year. But Kotozakura is still an active Ozeki, not in Kataban. So it only takes 2 tournaments from here to make Yokozuna. So right now he at least is in the sweet spot, Banzage-wise, if not necessarily health and talent-wise, to make a Yokozuna run. Number 2 is the field below Ozeki. And that field is, of course, led by, as we have just said, Yoshinofuji and Kirishima. And no spoilers here, the number 1 most likely Yokozuna in the next 9 tournaments, Aonishiki. Yeah, this guy has shot through sumo like a bullet. You can still fit his entire career in 1 screenshot, and he's an Ozeki already. This is not normal. Guys who do this, especially guys who do this before the age of 22, almost all make Yokozuna. So yeah, I would actually be surprised if he does not make Yokozuna in the next 9 tournaments. And the best thing about Aonishiki, we still have no idea what his ceiling is. Thank you so much for watching the Dohyo. If you have not yet, please like, subscribe, comment. It is a wonderful way to help support the channel, and it is absolutely free. But if you do have a little bit of extra money rattling around your pocket this holiday season, please consider supporting us over on the Patreon. Remember, you get a patrons-only Hagaki-oi, and the more support we get, the more episodes of the Dohyo there will be in the new year. Stay tuned to the channel. The January Banzage just dropped, and you know we've got bolder predictions coming up. And we also have our Whose Year Was 2025 in Sumo, a classic already that you're not going to want to miss. So everyone stay safe, stay strong, stay healthy, and I will see you next time on the Dohyo.